Oh, boy. Well, the Sharks have 7 players and their coach and training staff come off of COVID protocol. Not exactly the best way to come back when you're playing in high altitude to get those get back into game shape. But oh my goodness. That's a rough one. We'll break it down. Well, I'll break it down for you right now. This is Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is November 13th, 2021. The Sharks take a tough one, 6-2 over the Colorado Avalanche. And we welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game, so of course, if you want to be part of the show, chat with me and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, of course, Discord after the show, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. And with that, I say, hello, everyone. Hope you're doing all right on this lovely Saturday evening. Puck Guy with you going solo this evening. Everybody else is, as Giants broadcasters would say, on assignment. The Sharks are coming into this one losing their first game in Canada, losing to the Winnipeg Jets. The Colorado Avalanche absolutely spanked the Vancouver Canucks 7-1. So you kind of saw this one coming a little bit. You know, the 7 players coming back, with it being Erik Karlsson, Jake Middleton, Matt Neo, Timo Meier, Kevin LeBanc. You know, also throw in, Bob Bugner, Ray Tuss, Mike Aldrich, all coming back from COVID protocol. And then you have to play in the thin air of the Rocky Mountain. So it's going to be tough. And I'm going to be going to the chat with you a lot, so forgive me here. But Chris S. saying keeping the Sharkakuda out there would have also been ugly. Yeah, absolutely. Big Bird saying, they looked like they were going through the motions, absolutely stunk. But that's the thing. I think we expected the first game that they win under COVID protocol, where they beat the Jets, which was amazing, but also the first game back. And with the first game back being in Denver, that's always tough. I mean, Colorado's already an exceptional squad, but then to have them come back to play, that's a tough one to take. So we're already getting some of the comments out of the locker room. So Bob Bugner in here already saying, we lost the flow of the game. We couldn't get it back. I was comfortable down 2-1. Then we started doing uncharacteristic things, and guys looked like they hadn't played in a while. And that's the thing here, is that the guys still need to work things out. So, it's a tough one to take. But, and like Chris, you're absolutely right. This was a loss in most any case, and so they got it over and out of the system. Yep, I expect a better effort Tuesday in Minnesota. It's not going to get easier, folks. Tuesday in Minnesota, Thursday in St. Louis. This is next Saturday night against the Capitals. I mean, my gosh. A lot more water breaks tonight, so forgive me on that one. Got to stay hydrated doing this one on the night. So, fanatical teal bleeder. I'm just glad it was the Avs, not the Blues or Vegas. Well, I mean, I'm not sure. So let's get into it, shall we? The Sharks are, the Colorado Avalanche are 8-1-1 against the Sharks over the last few years. Byram out with a concussion, so that was not exactly the best one to go with. But the Sharks, started to get things moving early on. I thought they looked okay early on, and then they started coming out gangbusters. And at one time they outshot the Avalanche 9-1 in the first period. And of course, about three and a quarter into the game, Logan Couture gets on the board, his sixth of the season, to make it 1-0 San Jose, with Ferraro Meyer getting the assist from Meyer. That's 12 points in 9 games, and that's in 9 games that Meyer's played. I think we had tweeted out that outside that game against Montreal, right before COVID protocol kicked in, Meyer has scored in every game he has played in. So, Timo, as Pavs would say, way to keep doing whatever it is you're doing. So that made it 1-0 Sharks. But then the Sharks got into penalty trouble. And that's where I think the problem starts, coming into play here. Burns would get a puck over glass penalty. LeBanc would go to a little box for la tripping, and that would be, playing. You're playing with fire here. And granted, Colorado's power play is the 27th best in the league, but you knew they were due. And sure enough, Devon Taves just slaps one in, his second of the season, to make it 1-1. Then Nazem Kadri, after a mishmash of a line change, it looked like it was Shimmick coming off because he was getting tired. Carlson scrambled like heck to get back over, but couldn't. And that's maybe where the conditioning kind of comes into play with them not being there. Leaves Pickles high in the slot. The guys are coming back, and nothing's happening. And it gets them. And Colorado gets on the board to make it 2-1. That's what the period would be. Like I said, 9-1 the shots at one time were favoring San Jose. They finished up 12-10. So Colorado came on fire, really tested the Sharks. It really got to them early on. And don't forget, they also took 2 more penalties later in the period. Middleton for interference. Hella dudes on a frozen part. Shalane Golan, thank you again for the copyright permission. Appreciate it. With that, 4 penalties in a period. That's not going to get you anywhere, especially after the great start. I mean, it's just tough to see. So, if we had Shaka, thank you. If we had a win every water break puck I is going to have, we'd be undefeated. You have no clue. We'd be perfect. We win the cup in 16 games. Absolutely. So let's move on to the second period, shall we? No, I don't want to either, but that's what we got to do. Second period onward. Colorado started things off early again, but then I thought the Sharks were starting to throw their weight around, and I thought it was really taking care of it. Colorado's throwing shots at the Sharks. Sharks are throwing their stuff weight around too. I saw that 2-on-1 develop because Cogliano just decides to take a full-on cross-check, which shockingly doesn't get called, leads to a 2-on-1. He's got Merkley. Merkley shoots. It's blocked by Kemper. Unreal save there. Loose puck. Weatherby comes in. Samuel Girard, who had a heck of a night, it just lets it hit off the ice, and boom, done. It couldn't get anything on there, which was tough, So you knew that was a rough go early on, and then that happens. And then, of course, Newhook gets his first NHL goal. I mean, we got to be getting close to 100-something for first NHL goals scored by players on the Sharks. Or let me try to rephrase that. 100-plus guys have scored their first NHL goal against the Sharks. That's probably a little more way to put it there. So that made it 3-1. Then he takes a penalty like 2 minutes later. Yes, that's the first Sharks power play of almost seems like the week. They didn't have a penalty since Tuesday. So didn't look great there, but then what makes it matters worse is that O'Connor comes in. He scores on the shorthanded goal to make it 4-1. That's where I think everybody thought this one was out of the way, put away there. The Sharks couldn't really get anything going there. Third period, Burns would take a high sticking penalty there, and it just kept falling down from there. Third period, the Avalanche would get 2 more on hand, but the Sharks would also get another power play thanks to a high stick on Ferraro. He would take a nice little hit, and he would go into the box, which set up an Alexander Barabanov goal. His second of the season, Hurdle with the nice assist to set him up with a nice slapper. But also, while Erik Karlsson got the other assist, and welcome back, Erik Karlsson, with the nice little apple there on the power play. Thank you very much for my fantasy stats, for that matter. But big ups to Weatherby, getting in the way of Darcy Kemper. Don't let him take a shot. I mean, Hill was having issues all night, seeing shots because there was so much traffic in the way from both teams. And Weatherby's getting in the way there, and I'm loving that. Just keep doing that, Jasper. I mean, my gosh. So it's a tough one, but it's a nice to see. So you get that little bit of hope out of all this to make it 4-2, and you're thinking, all right, halfway through the period. Yes, Sandstorm's already been played, so we got to build our own momentum here. But then, not even a minute 11 later, Andrei Burakovsky, loose puck, fires it home from Landeskog and Girard. That makes it 5-2, which makes it even worse because then there's an empty netter goal that I forget to include here from Samuel Girard to... That's better. Thank you. He gets his 4th point of the night on the goal, his first of the season. That wraps things up here. Sharks lose 6-2 over the Colorado Avalanche. The Sharks are now 7-6-1. They are still 1 game above NHL 500, but they are now at 500 on the campaign. Again, this one's a tough one. And Walter Johnson saying exposing loss. Yes, but like I said, I if this game was in low altitude, mid altitude, not high altitude in Colorado, I wouldn't be too overly worried, about it. I think that's that, But it's, and I see fanatical Teal Bleeders saying, I rather the Shark Erik Kuhre as our regulars. To be honest, the effort is thrill to watch. You're not going to bench over $18 million in defense just because of a good effort. It's not going to happen. And Anthony, I'm with you. I expect a totally different result on Tuesday night. And now that this team has played a game, they'll look at what they were doing, looking at how they were just getting completely lambasted around. Their puck management needs to be better. Their puck possession needs to be better. Their legs need to be better. Let's be honest here. Because there were some guys who didn't have their legs tonight. Tomas Hurdle, Jonathan Dahlin. Yes, Couture had his early goal, and he was in there for a number of things. But this one's a team loss. This one I kind of expected to be a preseason game. So you take that as you will. And now you have 2 more games on this road trip. You go to Minnesota Tuesday night. You go to St. Louis, who you've already seen on Thursday night. And then you head home. You hope that there's going to be a little bit better, though. Chris S. saying, 10 of their first 16 on the road is tough. Yeah. And they've always liked to get their big road trips out of the way. So having practically a quarter of their road season finished is going to be nice down the road. And let's also be honest here. We joked about it, how they've only played one game in their division, well, they're going to have all those games, and a lot of them in the Pacific time zone. Let's be honest. Vancouver, you're going to have Seattle. You're going to have all the rest of your. You're going to have 35 home games. You're going to play in LA. You're going to play in Anaheim. You're going to play in Vegas. So you're going to definitely get all of those games back. It's going to be nice. You're going to have some breaks too. You're also going to have the Olympic break, we hope. So we'll see. Steve Rector, it was a thrill to watch for sure, but that stretch out over another 70-ish games would not last. Anthony Sanchez saying, I thought road trips strengthen team bonding, and it probably will. Let's be honest here. They're going to have a lot more time to go. So we'll see. Chris S. just saying, post-COVID fatigue is normal on top of not being in games for 2 weeks. And that's the thing, too. These guys couldn't do anything. They had to isolate. They're sitting on couches, for crying out loud. So that's a tough one. So we'll see what happens here. What was the other one? Oh, Steve Rector. This was another one. Young legs that aren't used to that season length and game frequency would burn out. I think it was already starting to happen, to be honest. Yeah, I think so too. And I think they also knew, I think in that Winnipeg game, and we heard it from Ryan Merkley right afterwards, that a lot of them were going back to the Barracuda. I think all but Nick Merkley went back to the CUDA, and they're playing in Abbotsford. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they're playing tonight. I haven't seen any updates from the AHL. I'll get back to you on that. I thought it was either tonight or Sunday that they continue the Abbotsford one. So we'll get to that. So let me continue on with the comments. Yeah, bud, jump on. Give me a buzz if you don't mind. That'd be much appreciative as I do this. So, hate to do this overhand, but AJ, if you're listening, that up, boy. All right, joining me in now is AJ Strong. AJ, bud, how are you, bud?
Hey now.
Hey now. First, I still haven't gotten to all the quotes yet, so thank you very much for doing that. But and thank you for jumping on because I really appreciate it. I'll keep your.
I could care less if the team is struggling.
Boy, that sounded like a Soviet coach.
Well, you don't remember Joe Namath on the sidelines?
No.
With the Jets? I could care less if the team is struggling. I want to kiss you.
That one.
Yeah, Google it, everybody.
Oh, boy. Barracuda play tomorrow, so we'll get to that in a little bit. Bud, how are you? What did you think from tonight?
It looked like they were trying to inject 7 guys and that they were playing a mile high. Mm-hmm. I mean, what are you going to do? It is what it is.
Yeah. And
there were a couple guys. Burns, to me, this is one of the worst games I've seen him play in a while. I felt like he was doing a lot of standing around. But then again, Chiefs been eating up huge amounts of minutes with so many guys out.
Yeah.
I do find it funny that Burns had points in 8 straight games, and then Carlson comes back and Burns doesn't get any points.
Oh, geez, here we go again. And then Carlson gets an assist tonight too.
Yeah, excuse me while I go put on my tinfoil.
Hey, I mean, there's another point. He comes back. Be warned, you're going to get that from Hockey Jerk tomorrow for sure.
I would hope so.
But yeah,
Looking forward to it.
But that's the tough part, dude, is that Burns has 26 minutes of ice time. Hell, Ferraro, I think, had almost 15 minutes going in, almost halfway into the game. He finishes over 27 minutes. I mean, you're going to burn these guys out.
Yeah, and that's really a call out for Ferraro because at one point in this game, he took some shots and was laboring to get up guys. So to see that, I mean, you can't say enough good things about Ferraro. And I said this a week ago on the show that if you don't have Ferraro penciled in as your team MVP so far, you're doing it wrong. The guy is just killing it. Hurdle mentioned that, and as did Meyer in the postgame, that they started trying to do that fancy shit again.
No, you can't do that.
And I don't like, how many times does that have to be drilled into your head to keep it simple, stupid? Stop trying to, put on a clinic. Meanwhile, Colorado, a couple of those times, was putting on a clinic.
Yeah.
So look, it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie. I put out the schedule, or as soon as I received the schedule, I went through the entire thing and I mapped out what games I thought the Sharks would win and what games I thought they would lose. And this week, I should have fucking went to Vegas and put a parlay because I nailed every one of them. I said I had it down that they'd beat Calgary, that they'd lose to Winnipeg, and that they'd lose tonight. Yeah. And for those of you playing, I have them losing the next two games as well. So it's not looking good.
I hope you put that bet down and that you don't get money back for the sake of the Sharks.
Yeah, right.
All right. Chris in the chat saying, another reason they had to get them all in, even if they're not 100%, they couldn't keep taxing Burns and others with a partial Kuhre squad, as well as that group did. They were taxing those vets.
Yep. No, completely agree. But here's the thing that really stands out to me right now. Look, I'm not trying to be a dick, but can I be honest for a minute and say, look, as it stands this season, when it comes to looking at the blue line, how comfortable are you with Vlasic and Simic versus, say, I don't know, Magna and Merkley?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, both of them did a pretty good job. Magna does have some experience.
Yeah.
Throw in Hataka or Hataka, however you want to pronounce it.
A player called Hataka. But yeah,
you look at him.
I thought Vlasic looked like horrible tonight.
But again, like I said, you have 7 players coming back. You knew they weren't exactly going to be spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough. We all expected this to be a loss, and with them coming back, it's like
and it was. Thanks for coming up, everybody.
Good night, everyone. But I mean, you want to see that effort that you saw those 6 games with the Sharkakuda, and I think
we did for the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I mean. It's just that's a tough one. But I look at it this way, and feel free to say this on the Pucknologist tomorrow night.
Who?
The Pucknologist? What? These guys got experience. The Sharkakuda. Did I do that right for Yoda speak? I don't know. But they also show Doug Wilson, hey, we're ready to go when you need us. Or, hey, if you need that extra piece because he'll get fancy if they're going to make a playoff push, that he'll toy around with some moves. And let's be honest here, I wouldn't be surprised if guys like a Shimmick gets moved.
Oh, Shimmick should absolutely get moved. Are the Sharks going to have to eat any of his salary? Granted, It's not a whole lot, but it's still more than I would say he's worth right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. But like I said, you had guys that, they haven't played in 2 weeks. It's going to take them a couple games to get back into the routine. The thing that is, a little mind numbing is the fact that, they have to spread out the minutes. Okay, we got to get back to playing simple or whatever. Okay, then why do you keep getting fancy? Why did I just? I can't right now.
As much as we like that headman pass and it worked against Calgary, let's not get all crazy and keep duplicating the same thing over and over again. Just like that fancy little drop pass that they like to do on the power play, which never works.
Well, they haven't done that a lot this year.
But I mean, just getting into some of those bad habits.
No, well, it's the bad habits, but really tonight was the fact that they couldn't maintain any possession in the O zone. They'd have it 5 or 6 seconds, couldn't get anything set up, and boom, it's going the other way. In the D zone, they couldn't they couldn't get in lanes. Yeah, Vlasic was beaten by a pass. Burns was absolutely pyloned. And then they go almost 2 straight games without getting a power play. They finally get one, and then they give up a shorty. So
yeah, of course, right?
Yeah, and Chris making a good point. Yeah, they have to get back to the north-south hockey. This team, if they're going to win, it has to be simple north-south hockey. Another thing I would like to call out, though, this has been, at least for the show, and I'm not, and before anybody loses their shit, I'm not blaming the officiating for losing games or anything like that. But you have to admit, this week, it's been really bad.
I mean, shoot.
Who was it that got fucking pasted tonight against the Landeskog boarded somebody, and he also slew-footed Meyer. No call.
No call at all. And then you have the other night where Dubois, within seconds, holds Ryan Merkley's stick, pushes him down with his helmet, and then as they separate, he takes a free swing and slash at him.
Yeah. Plus, there were 2 blatant cross checks, 2 trips, all out in the open. No one sees that. And then to start off the week, you had Zadorov's hit on Barabanov, that headshot.
Oh, and that doesn't even get looked at. Doesn't even get looked at, for crying out loud. That's the worst part. It's like, man.
Tough week for the Zebras when it comes to the Sharks, man. It was not great. Now they still lost. And, some of the officiating, I mean, you can't hang like the Winnipeg game. It's like, look, you can't blame Winnipeg for getting 3 power plays and the Sharks getting none when 2 of the power plays that Winnipeg got were from the Sharks hitting the puck over glass.
Right.
As they did again tonight. Like, you can't give up the unforced errors.
I mean, what did we say a couple of years ago when they were starting to have those puck over glass penalties, those, hella dudes penalties? Like, we had there was a stretch where it was 5 or 6 games to begin the year where they just started with at least one or both of those penalties in a game. And it's kind of like well, with the puck over glass, it's kind of luck. With hella dudes, it's kind of questionable hustling.
Yeah, it's people not paying attention. It's fucking lazy is what it is.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
And that's the tough part. But at the same time, as you're hoping for a penalty call, let's not bank on the call on officiating to help you out. Create your own luck. I mean, for crying out loud. So
absolutely. But it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out, especially because tomorrow's an off day and it's all about we're going to have a good practice on Monday and blah 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 blah. Fine.
Okay.
But fact of the matter is, last I checked, Minnesota they're 4-1 at XL. Okay, they're doing okay. They're currently beating up on Seattle, who hasn't. But and they're right there with in the top couple. I mean, right now it's Winnipeg, Nashville, St. Louis, and Minnesota. I mean, that's probably Colorado has to turn things on here. But look, Minnesota's going to be a tough team. And then what are you looking at? It's like, well, okay, getting your ass, I mean, I wouldn't say they got their asses handed to them against Winnipeg, but it was still, I think they played better than they did tonight. Tonight was a fucking shellacking.
Yeah.
And then if they get shellacked, I mean, at Minnesota, and then they have to go to at St. Louis, which essentially very similar to Minnesota, and that they're 3-1-1 at home currently, and they have they have the same percentage as Minnesota. So those are going to be 2 tough games. And didn't the Sharks already lose to St. Louis once this season?
Yeah. So they know what's coming there, but not the least of which you finish that road trip, and then you have waiting for you coming home to Washington on Hockey Fights Cancer Night.
And the fact that the Sharks will have played on Thursday night while Washington will be off Thursday and Friday. So they'll actually Washington will be a little more fresh because they're playing Tuesday and Wednesday in SoCal. So it's going to be a tough one.
And then you throw in that coming Monday, the 22nd, they play Carolina.
Yeah, this is not a stretch that is fantastic, but we said this early on when we looked at the schedule, was this is the time to try to bank some points before you start into that stretch of, where you get like 5 straight in mid-December against the Pacific Division. It's going to be a tough road.
And right before you came on, it's like, here's the good part is that you still have 35 home games left. You still have those games against LA, Anaheim, Vancouver, Seattle, and Vegas. You have all those games on the Pacific time zone. So you're going to be doing not as much road travels down the road to get, almost a quarter of it by the time you're done on Thursday in St. Louis out of the way. It's pretty nice.
It's not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all.
But the other thing, though, is that you also have teams that were projected to suck, like LA and Anaheim, that are currently above you.
Yeah. And with the 2-game losing streak, the Sharks have now, have dropped out of the wild card spot that they were holding on to, and then now they're 3 points back, with Vegas above the Sharks by a point, and LA.
When the hell was the last time LA lost a game?
Right. Oh, look at Anaheim. Anaheim's won 6 in a row.
I know.
And are a point back of Edmonton.
This is certainly not what we expected. And speaking of unexpected, right now, as bad as the Canucks have sucked, they're tied with Vegas right now 4-4. So this is just fucking weird. And let me guess, the Ducks play tomorrow. Is that what it is?
Let's see here. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, they play the Canucks tomorrow. They play what will be a tired Canucks team after, going long against Vegas. So that falls into Anaheim, that plays into their, oh boy.
The worst part that it, is if they go into
Seattle
overtime.
Fans going, oh, we wanted to be Vegas too.
And Ron Francis is like, no, I'm just going to slow build. And that's a tough part for them.
I like Ricky's comment here. Are we believers or are we on Team Tank? No, I had a little, they opened winning 4 straight, and I was like pleasantly surprised.
Yep.
Okay, this is a little better than I thought they'd do. Then during the COVID thing, I'm like, oh fuck, they're gonna get shellacked. And then all of a sudden, these younger guys get a look, and it's like, hey, I kind of likes me some Nick Merkley. I like me some Ryan Merkley. I'm liking things about Megna more than I like about Shimmick. So I saw some things, and I'm kind of like, all right, these guys could, tickle my ass with a feather a little bit. I'll take the tease. Let's see it. And then what happened? LA got hot. Anaheim got hot. Vegas started figuring out how to hockey again despite being decimated by injuries. So right now, I said I was going to look at this at the 20-game mark and kind of make a decision. And right now we're 6 away?
Yeah, we're 7-6-1. We've played 14 games.
Yeah, so we're 6 away. So let's see where we're at. If the Sharks have a losing record by that 20th game, I don't know how you can't be Team Tank at this point.
Well, it's just interesting because the next 6 games, AJ, are away at Minnesota on Tuesday, Thursday at St. Louis.
Okay, both of those are going to be losses.
Home to Washington.
That'll probably be a loss.
Home to Carolina.
See, that'll be the one that they win that everybody thinks, how the fuck did that happen?
See, I kind of flip-flop Carolina and Washington there. And then here's the interesting one. So Ottawa is now going under COVID protocol. I believe they have 9 players out right now.
Yeah, fuck them.
So there's your opportunity for, to whip around the Belleville Senators.
Spank the crap out of them.
And then Toronto on Black Friday.
And that should be another one where they spank the crap out of them. For some reason, the Sharks have had Toronto's number.
Yeah.
So, and both games against Toronto this year fall on a Friday. Come on. That has to mean something.
Hey,
And isn't that a stealth game too?
it usually is, but I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think it's a stealth game this time around.
Oh boy, if that is, man, we're host.
uh,
we had hope, and then you made it a stealth game. Everybody went fuck. Yes, it is a stealth game.
it is a stealth game, of course.
Yeah, so I'm
So
changing my. I have to change my prediction now.
so which leads to jinxes and everything about it. I'm going to ask you this because I have it on the screen here from Chris. I love opposing teams think where are we going? Think Baby Shark bothers us. Meanwhile, they're just subjecting their fans to it. To me, I there's just a little bit of me, just a little bit, not a whole lot. That's like, you know what? I would kind of like it if the Sharks changed the goal song to Baby Shark. It'd have that freaking Chelsea Dagger feel to it that you moan and groan at home going, oh, God, the Sharks scored again. Haha. And meanwhile, we're laughing about it.
I could care less. Until they bring back Rock and Roll Part 2, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I know they're never going to.
Right.
But it's, I could care less. You can't even, honestly, when the Sharks score at home, I can't even hear it, you can't even hear the song. So
what we're
whatever.
saying is, Jonathan Becker, if you are watching, AJ would like to work on the speaker system inside the Shark Tank. If you're, come on,
Nope. I mean, it's unfortunately that's that is the one thing that brought so much energy to that room is when Rock and Roll Part 2 would come in, and they just, despite their efforts, they haven't found anything that can fill that void.
Right.
And it sucks. They tried.
Yeah.
But, what can you do? I would seeing fanatical Teal Bleeder's going to say Metallica needs to make us a Shark song. You're the 20 billionth person to say that, and so I'll give the response that I've given for the 20 billionth time is the Sharks asked Metallica, they politely declined.
Yeah.
So if anything, I would like to see them either reach out to Sammy Hagar, who's a local guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or who's already done a song called Mas Tequila that if you go and listen to it, is a blatant homage, if you will, of Rock and Roll Part 2.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, or Dave Meniketti from Y&T. That guy's lived in Santa Clara for like 50 years. So...
Hell, what's Dionne Warwick doing right now?
Jesus Christ, no. Well, she was on SNL last week.
But... speaking of the Ottawa Senators, do you see the Canadian press crying about games not being rescheduled?
No, why? Because of the COVID issue?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So that when their guys are out, they want shit rescheduled.
Oh, yeah,
The Sharks are missing players. Oh, deal with it.
James Myrtle tweeted out, and he just got destroyed by Sharks fans.
Shocker.
And I was like, yeah, so where was the cry when the Sharks had their issues? Like, honestly, that first Winnipeg game could have been rescheduled rather than scrambling around like crazy. But I digress.
Yeah.
So,
well, either way.
Did Jerry give a donation in the Venmo by chance?
Oh, excuse me.
Just
hold on. Let me get the broom out of my ass. I'm doing a lot of things over here.
I know. I'm bugging you, and I appreciate it. But
hold on. What does that lead to? No.
Okay, then we can't do it. So,
but Grayson Hendricks, we thank you. That was from the last show, not tonight.
Yeah. Golden Knights take a 5-4 lead on the Canucks, and
I'm telling you. Here's the funny thing: is like. First off, I'm kind of like, God, this had to be the goddamn season that Arizona left the division, right? Like, at least it could have been somebody to beat up on.
Oh, yeah.
But Seattle is starting to look like that team. We'll see if Vancouver, who slowly seems to be looking like that team. But it still comes down to the fact that most people, us, or at least myself included, thought that the Sharks would finish in the bottom three of the division. Right now, that's where they are. Like I said, I take it in the 20-game chunks. Let's see where they're at 20 games. Do they have a winning record? If not, how bad is it? Are they at 500? Is it, is it something like 9-10-1? You know, is it something you can try to work with, or is it a little more significant than that? But dude, once you hit that halfway plateau, and then the second half is going to be very heavy on the Pacific Division, dude, I'm dangling Hurdle like a motherfucker.
And then Tom, here, we'll re-sign you come July 7th, I think is what it is.
They're not going to have any money for that until they get rid of the whole Kane debacle.
Which, hey, if it happens, then there you go.
Yeah, but it'll all be contingent on Hurdle signing and blah blah blah. No, I'm trying to see what you can get back. I mean, you have to, at some point, you have to say, look, you have to be a realist and go, look, you know, Couture performing to his contract right now. Timo Meier, yes, performing to his contract. But Kevin LeBanc, holy shit.
Maybe
this is a guy, he's getting, what, 4-something? 4.5,
I believe.
Yeah, he's playing the fucking third line, and right now his line has 1 point at even strength through, how many games have we played? 14? Yeah, 1 point, 1 even strength point from that line. That sucks.
That's a tough one.
You know?
And I know
I've been much more impressed with the Weatherby line than the fucking Bonino line.
Yeah, Weatherby's been impressive. I'm glad that he's getting more power play time. Like I was saying earlier, I love seeing that he's getting his butt right in front of the goaltender. I mean, I almost want to to fart on the freaking guy, so that way it really throw him off a little bit.
Dude, that second unit tonight, when Barabanov scored and you see Weatherby just stacked there.
Exactly.
I mean, it was very Dustin Byfuglien-esque. And I'm
Tomas Holmstrom.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, yeah, that's what you need to be working on. But oh man, that third line is just ugh. And even the guys on the post game, I think it was Hurdle that said, you know, look, right now it's a problem that we have. Well, this is the part that I kind of had to giggle at. He's like, we have too much talent on this team to be a one-line team. And I'm going, who? You know, I'm like, you, Dahlin, Couture, Meier. Okay.
There's 4.
Okay, maybe Barabanov, maybe Balsers. Like, okay. But I don't know. It's just so goddamn tough, but it's like I'm going to be a realist. It's like, let me ask you, is the end goal to win a cup, or is the end goal to make the playoffs?
I think they'll all say that it's going to win the cup, but let's be real here. Getting into the playoffs is ideally the goal that this team has.
Mm.
Go up against round 1, get lambasted by Vegas in round 1 or Edmonton, and you know.
Look, until Edmonton proves they can win a playoff series, I'm going to withhold that.
Fair enough with their goaltending. Yes.
Didn't they get summarily swept by Winnipeg last time round?
But let's be real here. How many people in the Canadian media bitched about and making a big note about McDavid not drawing a penalty? You know that they're just gonna be calling little ticky tack crap on McDavid down the road. And honestly,
it was like me calling out Furlat the other day.
Oh, jeez. A nice little kick there, bucko.
Yeah, that was another one that I thought was pretty funny.
I'm like, really? That's what you're gonna do, huh? Oh boy.
And I did enjoy Randy Hahn saying, "Stop banging on the glass, you morons." That was great.
It's too bad they weren't in Dallas for that one. Especially that one guy who actually has a sign that says "bang."
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, because he was literally told, "Stop banging, or we're going to take your tickets away from you." What a tool.
Yeah. LeBanc makes 4.725.
Okay, still too expensive for
through 2024.
The return on investment on that right now sucks. Like you, how many people have just swum right by you on the fucking depth chart? You know,
you're on the third line.
If you're worth that cash, you should be up there with Hurdle.
Yeah.
And Barabanov, you know. Balser should be on the third line, but whatever.
Or Dahlin.
I don't know, man. Dahlin and Couture. That was the whole thing. Couture straight up told Wilson, he's like, "Look, I want to play with this kid. This kid has, he's got some juice. He's got some mojo. He saw a lot of things in Dahlin that he liked. He's, been pretty creative. How can you not like this kid so far?"
Right.
So, I'm more than fine with that top line, with the exception of it can't be the only one producing.
Yes.
And I want to know what happened to the Carlson-less Sharks that brought out Brent Burns, because everybody been talking about, like, once Carlson was off this team on COVID protocol, it was like, Jesus Christ, I'm seeing 2017 Burns, and here's the Norris guy, and I'm saying, and then tonight, poof, looked horrible.
Which is weird because he doesn't. I mean, if Carlson was on his defense pairing, that would make sense. But because he's not, they're still not playing together. So I'm not sure how that can.
Maybe it's Burns thinks he can, maybe take more chances if Carlson is around. Maybe he's sitting there going, "Hey, I can take all these chances because at some point Carlson's gonna fuck up again and I'll look okay."
Right?
Who knows? Who knows? All I know is, dude, I own Shimmick jerseys. I want Vlasic and Shimmick off this team so badly right now. I really do. Like, at the very least, Vlasic for certain. I mean, I wasn't that guy until
tonight.
The stretch of the COVID games, and I was kind of like, look, I want to give these guys the benefit of the doubt, but holy hell,
gotcha.
I'll give Vlasic and Shimmick like the rest of this road trip. See if they can find their legs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, tomorrow they'll get some rest. Supposed to have a good practice, good practice habits on Monday. So try to get your shit together on Minnesota, for Minnesota. Play the game Tuesday. Let's see how you look if you're a little bit better there. But if it's the same shit, then I'm just kind of like, all right, it's time to put Vlasic in the press box. Send a fucking message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory here, but what was
William? To say, you better rephrase that.
What was William Eklund's last game?
Who?
Was it
Eklund's
the Blues?
last game was St. Louis.
All right, so since this is going to be controversial, but since William Eklund went back to Sweden and that sad face, the Sharks are now 1-2-1 after Eklund.
Yeah, but I mean, you can, okay. And I don't think that's a fair thing to pull out because the COVID stretch. Let's see how they are over these next 5 games, without Eklund, now that everybody else is back. But still, I don't I don't know. I can't imagine that Eklund is the end-all, be-all.
No, but I think he was creating more offensive scoring chances, and they looked pretty decent out there. Now, in these last 4 games, they've only scored 6 goals.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the last 2 games he was playing in, they had 6 goals combined, or I'm sorry, 8 goals combined. They scored 5 against Buffalo and 3 against St. Louis.
No, I felt like he Eklund. See, now Ricky on there said Eklund wasn't generating anyway. I would disagree. I thought he was getting some decent looks and he was helping the play, and it allowed Bugner to deploy guys at different lines.
He wasn't generating on the score sheet to say,
but he was opening things up for other guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I kind of felt the same way about Ryan Merkley through some of his games. There was a couple times where he generated a shot from the point where he basically did like a ring around the rosy thing and had like 2 guys chasing him, and it opened up space for him to find a great lane and almost scored with it. And I commented at the time, I was like, God damn, that's very Miro Heiskanen, the way he pulled that off.
Yeah, it's nice because he's offensively minded defenseman, but he's mobile And Burns isn't exactly going to pinch all the time unless he sees something. And the same thing with Carlson. But Merkley out of the three seems more mobile. The one catch that
younger legs.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, he would get himself caught out on the ice a little bit longer, and he's got to learn to be better on that.
Yeah, well, Burns got caught a couple times tonight too. So Ricky's saying Eklund has 8 shots in 9 games, wasn't making chances for himself. Yeah, but he was helping other guys get free. Like not every. Oh God, we talked about this at one point. It was something about if they tallied, oh God, like they have the primary and the secondary assist. That if they tallied a tertiary assist, I forget who it was because we did this a couple years ago. They said some guy would just have a ridiculous amount of points because he was just always involved, but he wouldn't end up on the score sheet because he'd have that third assist. Look, you want talent on this team, or do you want to see? That's my whole thing. It's like, if you want to make the playoffs, you want to go for it now, so to speak, or whatever. Why do you send Eklund away?
True.
At this point, why do you send Ryan Merkley away? Because look, for me, I would take Ryan Merkley over Šimek or Vlasic at this point.
And also, don't forget, you'll have Nikolai Knyzhov also coming off. But that concerns me because that has the potential to be Šimek 2.0. I mean, because how many people were in love with Šimek early on?
Oh, he was the Burns whisperer.
And now, all of a sudden, yikes.
Well, and Ricky makes a good point, though. Do you want Eklund developing into a supporting role, pass first player? Do you want him to be a scoring first line center? Absolutely.
That's a good point.
I get that because even Bugner mentioned that it was like, we don't, I forget what the exact quote was. It's on our Twitter, but it was like, we're not here to develop fourth liners.
That's what Roy Sommer's been doing for 25 years. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, see, Chris saying secondary assists are pushing it. Half of them are meaningless. I don't know. I mean, some I would agree, but then I would say some start with that what would be a tertiary assist. A little bit goes both ways. Anyway, and then the other thing that needs to be addressed before we go here is, remember, we are what's our record now?
7-6-1. Yes, we're a part of the team.
I'm sorry, the Sharks. What's the Sharks record? 7-6-1. So that's 14.
15.
7-6-1? No, that's 14 games.
Oh, 14. I'm sorry. I thought you meant points. My bad.
No.
My blunder.
All right. So, but you have Minnesota, St. Louis. Then you have a 4-game homestand.
Washington.
And then what happens at the end of the month?
Chicago.
Kane is available to come back.
Yep.
So what happens with that? Do you understand how much media is going to be at the game in New Jersey on the 30th? And not to mention the fact that it's a fucking ESPN game.
Oh, yeah.
It's the next ESPN game. So it's a national game. So it's going to get mentioned.
It'll be mentioned, but yeah, since he's just traveling around with his girlfriend, female companion, well, I guess.
Whatever.
I mean, doesn't seem like he's preparing himself.
No, I think he's preparing himself for life after hockey or something. I don't know what the hell that guy's gonna. I don't know. Go buy a yacht with Jeremy Roenick and do tours of Catalina or something. I don't know what the hell he's gonna up to. And then Ricky also pointing out, yeah, what about Knyzhov? That was the guy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is that he just had a knee injury. Same thing with Šimek. So what happens now?
I'd love to have Knyzhov back.
That's
the whole thing, dude. If we have you saw some spark in Ryan Merkley. I didn't hate Megna's game at all. I thought Milosh needed some more.
Yeah.
I wasn't real thrilled with him, but I thought Megna exceeded my expectations. Now, that could be very much like insert the meme here that said, our expectations for you were low, but holy fuck. No, Megna exceeded my expectations. Ryan Merkley, I think there was a couple times where I was like, whoa, love that. And then a couple times where I went, oh. Milosh has not, he's not hit the bar for me. Vlasic and Simic, boy, if we could get Knizhov back and maybe you look at Merkley and then,
yeah.
Ah, man, if we can, Doug Wilson needs to do everything he can to get rid of Simic. I don't think anybody takes Vlasic's contract without the Sharks either eating half of the salary or getting next to nothing in return.
Does he pull a blockbuster way packages Simic and LeBanc for something?
I don't hate that.
It doesn't have to be the same team, but are those two pieces?
Hatika too. Yeah, I enjoyed Hatika. Yeah.
So.
No, I think there's some decent pieces here. If we can just see everybody healthy, but yeah, I'm on the trade Simic Vlasic train like big time.
And that's the thing, is everybody being healthy. How is this team going to be with everybody being healthy? What we saw early on, pretty good. So that's that little dangling carrot. It's like, ooh, do I want to do something now or maybe not? And that's the
other thing. Like, again, not trying to be a dick, but I got to tell you, like, you look at who's the third line, Bonino, Nieto,
LeBanc.
Yeah, Bonino, Nieto, LeBanc, and I got to tell you, right now, I'd kind of be like, all right, that's okay, but what if you had, say, Gregor with Leonard and Blichfeld?
Sure.
What if you had, would Chmelevski, Reedy, and Shellman give you more? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised we haven't seen anything from that Gregor hasn't gotten a call. I don't know if he's injured right now or what's going on.
Well, he was under COVID protocol for a little bit.
Yeah, but just haven't heard much about him, and no one's really asking about him, which makes me wonder, like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, it's a curious case. We'll see what happens.
But dude, Gregor with only 6 games, he's got 8 points. He leads the team in points, and Reedy has 7 points. Come on, and how have you not liked? How can you not like what you've seen from Nick Merkley so far?
And granted, Lane Peterson is out, they said, a week or 2 with an injury, but he definitely earned his way to stay on the squad over there.
Yeah. So I like seeing Blichfeld. And then, and this kind of goes back to what Bugner was saying about, we're not here to develop fourth liners. I think that's one of the reasons why Leonard got sent back down. Like, they want to give him lots of minutes. Chmelevski, Shellman, Leonard, Knyazev, Merkley, those guys, they want to give them the big minutes so when they come in, they're really ready to make an impact. And I get that.
Right.
But God damn, I look at Bonino, Nieto, and LeBanc, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
It's like
you are now the fourth line. Weatherby's group is coming up. Piss off.
Yeah, it's like you dangle that tease. It's like, oh, you guys look pretty good. Okay, and now you go back down. Have fun in Abbotsford this weekend.
No, dude, I will take Weatherby, Cogliano, and who's the guy I'm missing? Nick Merkley. Yeah,
I like that.
Those I will take those guys getting a few more minutes. I'm not saying that they're the second coming of Richie Sundstrom and Scott Thornton, but they have some some grit, if like the coach would say, some jam. Isn't that something that T-Mac would say back in the day?
Of course. Of course.
No, what was it? Oh, polish. That was T-Mac's word.
Jam, polish. It kind of meant the same thing, even though it doesn't make sense. But.
Yeah, it makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
Cogs and bones. That's our trademark.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, wrap her up.
You got it. To wrap it up, the Golden Knights are about to win 7-4. Wild beat the Kraken 4-2.
Hold on, 7-4.
Yeah,
And didn't the team get rocked the shit out of them 7-1? Vancouver.
Yes, so
the
they've
other day?
allowed 14 goals in their last 2 games. Have fun playing against Anaheim tomorrow.
Hold on. Vancouver's allowed 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Christ. Okay, go ahead.
Let's see. Have they allowed more than the BC Lions have? I mean, that might be a question. Speaking of bad, and they should feel bad, the Kraken lose 4-2. Now they're 4-10-1. Pitlick with the hat trick in that one. Thank you, Jets, for being the Kings. Granted, it was in frickin' overtime.
You know what? That works out for me, though. We'll talk tomorrow on the
Yes.
Puck Knowledge.
What are we expecting tomorrow?
So we're obviously going to talk about the games that were played, the quick overview of what happened this week. We'll get in a little bit of why the NHL and Department of Player Safety hates us, or I should say hates the Sharks. Let's, kind of what we liked, what we didn't like from the week, some of our standouts. We're going to have the updated stats and modules. We'll cover a little bit of what to expect in the next week of Sharks hockey. A little bit of Doug Wilson finally getting inducted after waiting what seems like ever. Yeah. NVCSN making an addition.
A good
and
one.
I like that they're going. Yeah, and I like that they're going on location.
Oh my God! How sweet is Boiler's house?
Well, if you work for 3 years on a fucking house, it better be nice. And that was a hell of a nice crib. We're going to talk about, like you were just mentioning, the dark horses that Jerk and I have, and Jerk's Canucks, getting smoked as of recently, whereas my Kings are doing okay.
Your Kings.
We'll talk about, or we'll ask the question: can we go a week without there being turmoil in the NHL after what happened with Anaheim and Bob Murray?
And look how Anaheim's flourished with it.
Right. There'll be a little, we'll touch on the Abbotsford Canucks absolutely curb stomping the Barracuda yesterday, and then obviously we'll be coming on just as the second game between those two hits. Get into the prospects, dude. Tristan Robbins, holy shit. Like, that's a cat that I'm kind of going, boy, do you dangle him in something, down the road? I don't know.
Dude, but at the same time, Robbins, Bordelot, Gushkin, I mean, oh.
No, dude.
I can't wait for those kids to get up here.
Dude, this Robbins kid is just, he's blowing people's doors off. I mean, 27 points in 15 games. Are you kidding me? Almost at a 1.8 point per game threshold right now. Brandon Coe, it is almost at a 1.5 per game. So yeah, we're gonna talk about a couple of those guys. We get into our top 5 every week, and it's a couple players have moved around. Last week Ozzy was up, and this week he's out because Max McHugh is in. So, yeah, right. There's a couple guys with that, and then tweet of the week and all the normal stuff. But
gotcha. That's tomorrow night, or if you're on delay here, Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the YouTube channel. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell. That recognizes that when we go live, you just click on that, and you'll be right there with us. And of course, if you're
listening not live, leave a comment in the comment section below this video.
Yep, and tell us what you thought of tonight and everything down the road for the Sharks.
Because it sucked. Next.
Yeah, well, so come on, people, let's get to 20 likes right now. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and of course always available at tealtownusa.com. But thank you for jumping on. I really do appreciate it. I get everybody has a Saturday night that they want to do stuff, but darn it, come on.
Pikers.
And oh, by the way, Joe Pavelski scored.
Ooh.
Yeah, some guy. He used to be a captain. Slow foot, but still has a great shot. He got his 4th of the season tonight in a 5-2 win for the Stars over the Flyers, who suddenly have fallen down.
oh, oh, oh,
Yes.
oh. Now I'm all like just because if I was looking correctly, so if I
I'm
was
pulling up the
following,
info right now, bud.
no, if I was following the schedule correctly, yep, Martin Jones started this one.
And he had
I was looking forward to this, and I'm like, because the game that the Flyers played before this, they were playing someone tough like Carolina or something like that, and I'm like, okay, there's no way Jones starts that. He's got to start against Dallas, and Dallas has looked shitty this time, and what happens? Jones shits the bed with an 867.
Yes, but for the season so far, entering tonight,
It was a 950, dude. He was leading the fucking league. Dude, what's that about?
Oh.
Dude, leading the league in goals against and save percentage. I'm like, stop it.
When are we getting the Manscaped sponsorship for Ian's head shave? Hashtag no free ads, of course.
No idea. Let's see. So did they, what? Hold on. So goals against average right now, it's, where the fuck is Martin Jones?
Entering tonight, 168.
So 2.27. He's fallen to 2.27.
Damn.
So that
in
hurts.
One game.
But the big thing is that it's all about the save percentage, and right now 931, baby. That's better than 915. That's better than 915. I'm just saying. So if you can keep that shit up, just saying.
Ian, your hair's not looking good right now, my friend.
Hold on. Final comment from Big Nasty. What can the Sharks do to move Kane to Arizona or anyone else? What would he have to give? What does Arizona have to give back? Nothing. Did you see Chicago just absolutely disgrace them tonight? Dude, there was a play that somebody tweeted out that it was such a, like, you're not even hockeying anymore.
Oh,
no, I don't know. I want Kane anywhere but San Jose. I don't care where he plays.
Yeah, but is that going to have to come at a cost like it did for the Leafs with Patrick Marleau?
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I would take Marleau over Kane right now. I'm just saying.
Damn. All right.
Speaking of which, when do they announce that guy's retirement? Anyway.
Oh, damn, you went there. All right.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, give it 20 games. If he hasn't signed, come on, call it a day.
And with that, we'll get out of here. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. He's at AJ_Strong on Twitter and the Instagram. We'll be back with you Sunday night for Pucknologists at 7 p.m. Your next game is Tuesday at 5 o'clock as the Sharks take on the Minnesota Wild from St. Paul. So until then, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button down below. Comment down if you missed the show already. Tell us what you thought about this game and where the Sharks are at as they lose 6-2 to the Colorado Avalanche. And until tomorrow night with Pucknologists and Tuesday night for After Dark, following Sharks and Wild, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. The conversation continues on the Discord right now. See you over there.